Good afternoon and welcome to a Rebels radio interview. I'm joined by both Slough Town managers to talk about next season a little bit. So how are you enjoying the break so far?
To be honest, it's only now that we are having a break. You know, first 3 weeks after the playoff final were pretty hectic, as they are for all managers really. Lots to sort out, lots of conversations to be had, but we feel pretty relaxed now, don't we?
Yeah, I think I'm sure there's lots of managers that will be busy throughout all of June as well. But I think we're sort of relatively comfortable with what we've got for next season, and we can sort of sit back and enjoy a little bit, and go on our end of season tour and whatever else.
What are your thoughts on the league for next season? I know the allocations have been made initially, and then some changes in the last few days.
To be honest, the changes this week for me have been great. I mean, Stourbridge and Halesowen going to the Northern Premier, I'm pleased about. I don't know an awful lot about either of them, and that can be said about quite a few of the sides. But what I do know about Stourbridge is they're a strong side, and got in the playoffs, and I think they would have been a real threat this season. And from what I'm led to believe, Halesowen will be very, very strong this season as well. I know that they're apparently throwing a bit of money at it as well. And from my point of view, it's two sides that are based in Birmingham that are no longer in our league, and they've been replaced by Hayes and Yedding, who, granted, I'm sure will be very strong, but it's a local game for us. And then Corby, which is a ground that I haven't been to, and apparently it's a nice new ground, and I'm quite pleased with that, to be honest. I don't know what your thoughts are. Sure.
Yeah, to be honest, you look at it, I'm excited by it. You look at some of the clubs we're going to be playing, the grounds we're going to be going there, in places like Weymouth, and and big local derbies. Chesham, Burnham, obviously Hayes and Yedding. It's just nice to, no disrespect to anyone we've been playing. You kind of get used to all the sides that you play regularly when you're in a league for a few seasons, and it's just nice to go to some new places. And obviously I think hopefully the grounds will be a bit bigger, the support will be a bit bigger, the pitches hopefully a bit better. So all round it's a step up, and I think it's one that us and the players are really looking forward to.
I think you look at the sides in the league. There's some big sides in that league, and the type of teams that you want to be playing against, and from that point of view, it's you just almost want it to start tomorrow. I know I do.
So the hangovers from Kettering have cleared. Mm-hmm. You said you've had a busy kind of couple of weeks. What were the first things you did?
Well, obviously we needed to sit down with the chairman. Any manager will do the same. They need to discuss what the budget will be for the next season. Myself and Bakes had a number of chats already about the current players and where we thought we might need to improve, and we went and shared our plans with Steve, and he was happy with what we were planning to do, and obviously you sort out the money side of it, and we left that meeting. I think all three of us were happy with where we were, and it gave us the opportunity then to go and speak to, first and foremost, the players that had got us where we are, and we didn't want to we didn't want to lose anyone there, to be honest. Those lads have been fantastic. They deserve an opportunity to level up, and
they'll get that. Yeah,
they'll get that. And we spoke to everybody, and everybody's agreed to stay, which is fantastic news.
Yeah, I mean, the only slight caveat to that is obviously the Dave Woosley situation. Woos's brother gets married. I think it's something. I think he goes on something like the 12th of.
It's straight after the first game.
Straight after the first game, and he's away for just over 3 weeks, I believe, in America. So we've sort of got to rule Woos out for the first month of the season. So and with Fowler out as well, injured probably until sort of November. That put our sort of focus on some centre halves. Because we're going to need a bit of cover there, really.
So you've been looking around the market, as it were, and obviously now playing at a higher level, looking at players that would be suitable to come and play and make a difference and a good addition to the squad. What's the news?
Well, we've had agreement from 2 players to join us. So the first one of those is Luke Knight, who was with Barton last season. We knew him previously the year before when he was at Biggleswade. He helped them get promoted. And he's a player we like a lot. I mean, we saw quite a lot of Barton last year, and every time we saw him, he impressed us. And yeah, particularly towards the end of the season when we saw him, he really he stepped up as someone who is a leader. He's a winner. Hates losing, wants to lift the players around him if they're struggling. He's technically a good player. What really stood out was his work rate. He works ever so hard. He puts himself about, and I think we both think he's he's our sort of player.
Yeah, we watched him at I think it was at AFC Hayes, and both myself and John at that point had said we both liked him as a player, and then after the Barton game, both me and John said he'd be one that we'd probably like to get. He's the type of player that you hate to play against. As a player, you think, God, he's a pain in the backside, to be honest. But he's one of those ones when he's on your side, you're delighted with. So
he's a strong character.
Strong character, and he's a good lad. We've had a lot of chats with him, and he's I know he's sort of been talking to quite a few of our lads already, and he likes a night out and things like that. Types of things that we look for in a lad, and
the great thing, I think he's really excited to be coming to Slough, which is a big, it's really nice to hear.
Yeah, he's 25 as well, so he's he's at that age where we like he's hungry to sort of go and prove himself at step 3, and no, we're both delighted with it. Everything every time we've spoken to him, he's been ultra positive, and he just can't wait to get going really. And we know he'll fit in well with our lads, and he'll be a very strong addition to the squad.
And moving on from that, any other targets?
It's been mentioned a little bit on the forum actually this week. But Reece York, we've signed from Beaconsfield. He was previously with Burnham at the start of last year, and prior to that he was at Northwood. I know he had a good career to start with. I think he started at was it Barnet? Was that?
Yeah, I think he had a year pro at Barnet. He played for England schoolboys at 17. He's 22 now, so he's a good age. When he stood out for us was pre-season last year. We went to Burnham last friendly, and he was big and strong and aggressive, and he really was impressive that day. And we also saw him several times for Beaconsfield, where he always played well when we saw him. He's what you want from a centre half.
Yeah, we went and met up with him. We met up with him at Beaconsfield Services. Myself and John do like to, try and get to know somebody before we sign them, and we met up with him and had a good chat. And he seemed a nice lad. He's really, really hungry to sort of progress his career, and I think he looks at Slough and he could have gone to Burnham, no question. I'm sure Gary would have taken him to Burnham, but he wants to give it a go at Slough, and we think he will be a very, very strong addition to the squad as well.
I think he's one who can get better and better. As a centre half, you're not the finished article at 22, and the other thing we said to him, we've both played a decent level of football in that position, and like to think we can help him develop. And I know from talking to him, he wants to go and play higher, and hopefully that's with Slough. But most importantly, we help him get higher.
So and in terms of other players, we've had we're probably going to have another three come along pre-season. I don't think there'll be any more than that, unless something ridiculous comes up between now and pre-season. I think it would be 3 others. One's been mentioned already. A lad called Tom Moran from who was at Marlow last year, can play centre half or centre midfield, predominantly as a centre half though. He was recommended to us by Ian Savage, a guy that we both played with and know very well, and who knows the game. I think he was assistant manager at Farnborough when Farnborough got promoted, and he just said, he's a top player, he's a top prospect. I think is he 21,
22, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a top prospect, and I trust Ian's judgment really, and I had a good chat with Tom, as I did with Bart's, because we try and do things the right way as much as we can, and I had a good chat with both of them, and Tom's really up for coming down and giving it a good go pre-season. There's been no assurances, no guarantees, and hopefully he will come in and try and earn himself a shirt really, and as I say, the other two are in the same boat really.
Yeah, I say it's more the players that we're looking at, the kind of trialists, if you like, who we're going to take a look at and see how they do are more defensive-minded players. We were a little bit light defensively. Obviously, we had Dan Sintim in on loan last season, and because of where he lives, that's not like a permanent or a long-term option for us. So we want to make sure we're well covered there. We've got a lot of players higher up the pitch, a lot of options. So that's what we're concentrating on. And as Bake said, we'll if something comes up that we're not expecting, then we'll have a look at it. But we're not actively going out there looking now. We're happy with what's coming down for pre-season. It will probably be 24, 25 players there, and we'll, even that's too many. So we'll have to see how pre-season goes. But yeah, we're not actively looking anywhere else at the moment.
I mean, that will include obviously a couple of the young lads in Seb and Matty and things like that. So and we'll obviously have to see where they are. But they're big plans going forward for the club. So
And talking of pre-season, what's the format? When does it all start?
July the 1st is when we have our first training session, and the first friendly's on the 12th. So I think we've got 4 or 5 sessions before the first friendly. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. I think the pre-season was very different last season. We were new to the club. A lot of players were new. We had a few more trialists last time, and it was a bit of a weird feeling that players were kind of looking around, not knowing who each other were, or maybe they'd played against each other, and no one. There was a lot of uncertainty around. Yeah. Whereas there'll be a little bit this time, but it'll be a lot more settled. I think we'll have quite an enjoyable pre-season. I'm looking forward to it, probably more than the players are. But
yeah, well, to me, like we the way we conduct our pre-season, a lot of it is with the football anyway, and I think the vast majority of the lads do tend to come away with, having enjoyed the session but having worked hard. But no, I think we're really looking forward to it, and as John says, the uncertainty for the vast majority of the players won't really be there, so it should be an enjoyable pre-season.
And all geared up to go back to Cyclops for another year, because obviously the ground news is quite quiet at the moment.
Yeah, I think we'll be at Cyclops for another year. I understand that there's a meeting on 9th of July regarding the Cowser School and the Arbor Vale site, so we'll wait to see what happens from that. With a bit of luck, that might be some positive news for the club. Because it will be fantastic just to get that go ahead to go to Arbor Vale, because then once you get that go ahead and once things actually start moving, then everything else ramps up and gears up.
Yeah, so you find yourself again with a lot of away friendlies leading up to the start of the season. Who are we facing?
We're really pleased with what we've got. We didn't want to do a lot of travelling in pre-season. We wanted to play on some decent pitches and play the right type of size. So we think we've got all of that really. So we start at Windsor, obviously very local, fantastic pitch, good setup over there. We go to Marlow after that, which we know Mark Bartley very well. I think they'll be strong. I think he signed some good players, so that'll be a good test. Third one's Maidenhead, which again, a club from a high level. Good pitch, local derby.
I think they're also opening their stand that day as well. So so it should be a good crowd. Should be a good day. Off to Fleet on the 22nd. Again, it's it's somebody we know, and I'm sure there'll be a young side and very energetic. So that'll be a good test for us. And 26th over at AFC Totton, who got relegated from the league last year. I mean, that's probably the one with a little bit of travelling in for the main reason that we're going to coincide that with a team night out down in Southampton. So
it's a good chance for the new players to get to know the current players. So yeah, we like to do one of those in the summer.
Yeah.
And then I think we go to Met Police.
Met Police and
which
finish.
is obviously a play at our level, which is a good game for us. Another very good pitch, very good side.
Yeah. And finish with Leatherhead, who are in exactly the same boat as us, having been promoted from the Ryman 1 South final playoffs. So, and again, another fantastic pitch and a good club as well.
Yeah, so a good mixture really.
And on that first game, would you prefer to have a home game or an away game?
Well, Chris Nunn, the Biggleswade manager, told me that the sides that actually come up tend to always play at home in their first game. So it looks like we might be at home. If I'm honest, doesn't really bother me. Don't care who we've got. It's just about getting out there and playing our first game at that level.
So Truro away then?
I'll take Truro away now. First game of the season.
In August,
get it done nice and early. I'll be delighted if we got Truro away.
And what are your overall ambitions for next season? Both kind of broken down on a kind of smaller level. What are you aiming for?
Bakes looks at me to speak first.
Because I wonder why.
Well, I guess first and foremost, we looked at the sides that went up like the year before, and Biggleswade came 9th, had a really good season. Burnham, if they hadn't have had the money issues and Martin Stone leaving, I'm sure they'd have been in and around the playoffs as well. So, we're aiming to be up there, challenging for those playoff positions. It's very very early days, to say that. We don't know huge amounts about the sides in the league, but we've felt for a while now that the players we've got are step 3 players. It's a step 3 squad, not step 4, and the hard bit is getting out of that league. As a lot of clubs are finding, there's some very good clubs like your Rugby's and your Daventry's and Ketterings. They can't get out, and so I think that's almost the hard bit is getting out. And I think all of those sides could hold their own in this league. I think we'll hold our own in this league. Time will tell. Maybe it will be a lot tougher than we believe. We're certainly not underestimating anyone. We're not going to fear anyone. But we'll respect everyone. We didn't fear anyone in the league we're in. But then we respect every side we play, and we'll treat every game as a big one, and they will, won't they?
I think what I can see that will be happening is some of the bigger games we played last year, the teams like your Ketterings, your Rugby's. I think we'll be playing those types of games every week. Every game we play will be a tough game, and I'm sure there'll be better sides than those sides. However, we've competed with those types of sides before in the past, and where we've normally been good is when we've been playing against better sides, and so we're relatively confident that we can go in and do ourselves justice and be competitive. And listen, if we're not, and we've massively underestimated it, then we'll make the relevant changes that we need to do to make sure that we are competitive. So we're just going to go in, and I don't think there's any pressure on us, which is great. There's a hell of a lot of less pressure on us this coming season than there was last season. So from that point of view, we can go and enjoy it, and do what we can.
But we are, we're ambitious.
Very ambitious.
As a pair, we're ambitious, and we know our players are ambitious. All the season just gone, all we were doing was talking about getting in the Southern Prem, and all we'll be talking about is getting in the Conference South. And if it takes, however many years it takes, that's how long it will take. That's where we want to be. That's where we want to be next. That's the target.
My ambition is to do what Gosport did, 2 years ago, and go up from the South and West League via the playoffs, and then up via the playoffs fight in the Premier League the following season. That's our ambition, and there's no reason why it can't be done.
Well, brilliant. Thank you ever so much for your time, gentlemen. Over the next upcoming months, what can the Slough fans expect in terms of communication? Is there any sort of forum going to be planned pre-season? Is there going to be further interviews? What are the communication? Obviously, next couple of weeks you might be a bit incommunicado when you're in Portugal. But
we haven't actually talked about doing a fans forum. We did last year, and it went down quite well at the time.
I think it might be.
We'd certainly be up for it. Maybe an open training session like we did before, if they want to come and watch the lads train, and we'll have a maybe a bit more informal now. They know us and we know them, and the supporters. Maybe it will be quite a relaxed one over a few beers up at Farnham Park. Yeah. So we'll have a look at that. But no, if there's any changes to what we've said in terms of the squad news, we'll obviously update via the website, and I'm sure once we get into pre-season we'll do another one of these.
Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much for your time. Enjoy your tour.
We will do.
And yeah, thanks ever so much.
Cheers.
Cheers, John.